And now it's time for Whiteboard Stories. That's where we tell stories on a whiteboard. Clever name, huh?
Today, we're gonna talk about a guy named David.
The guy from the post office?
No, Landon, not that David.
Oh, you mean the guy who taught me how to save money?
No, that's Dave Ramsey, Landon. Today we're talking about the boy who fought off giants and became king of Israel.
Oh, that David.
Right. David lived a very interesting life, and there's so much to learn from his story, so let's get started. So, to start this story off, we gotta talk about this guy.
Is that David?
Nope, that's the prophet Samuel.
Oh, prophets are the guys that give messages to people from God, right?
Bingo! Now, one day, Israel was getting a little grumpy about something. You see, all the other countries had kings that ruled them, but Israel didn't.
No king? Who was their leader?
Well, God led them. He was like their king. God led them through everything, so there wasn't really a need for a king. Exactly, and that's what God was telling the people of Israel, but they weren't listening. They said, but we want to be like the other countries that have kings. Well, God had Samuel tell them that they didn't need one, but they kept on until finally God told Samuel, okay, tell them you don't need a king, but since I know you're going to disobey me and get one anyways, I'll anoint someone who's up for the task.
David!
Not yet.
Oh.
God had Samuel anoint a guy named Saul. The Bible says he was a real tall guy who was up to the task.
Well, that's good news, right?
Well, they weren't supposed to even have a king, but Saul was good in battle and seemed to do a good job for a bit.
A bit? Well, what happened? I thought he was up to the task.
Well, he was, but remember, Saul was a person, so he can make mistakes, unlike God. Right. You see, he did good for a bit, but Saul started getting too prideful, and he got really arrogant and decided not to listen to God on what to do or how to handle a battle. He instead started handling things his own way, which were really bad ideas, if I may add.
Not cool, Saul.
No, so Samuel didn't think it was cool either, and God definitely didn't. Yep, Saul went over the line, and God told Saul through Samuel that his days of being king were over. That's right, and Saul started begging for God not to take the kingdom from him so much that he ripped Samuel's shirt. Samuel said, "The Lord has ripped the kingdom of Israel from you and has given it to your neighbor who is better than you." Saul had just kept making it worse and worse on himself.
Ouch. Shouldn't have done it, dude. But I think I know who the neighbor is, right?
Well, later Samuel set off to find who God says should be the new king, and God led him to a man named
David!
Jesse's house, and there he met Jesse and his sons. Well, Samuel met 7 of Jesse's sons.
David, and David.
No, I'm getting there. That was a lot of diapers to change. But they were some big guys who looked like kings. Samuel looked at one and said, "Surely it's this guy." But the Lord told Samuel not to look at the way he looks. This isn't the guy. The Lord doesn't see things the way people do. People look on the outside, but the Lord looks at the heart. It's on the inside that matters.
Well, what about the other sons?
Well, Samuel listened to the Lord, and he looked at the other sons and said, "None of these are the ones." So Samuel asked Jesse, "Are these all of your sons?" Jesse said, "Well, the last one is the youngest. He's outside watching the sheep." Samuel said, "Bring him in. I won't sit down until I see him." So Jesse brought him in, and can you guess who it was, Landon?
Is it David?
Yep. Woohoo! And he was definitely the guy the Lord wanted to be king, so Samuel anointed him. Yep, even though he was the youngest and may not have been as big as his brothers, he was the one that was best fit to be king.
I guess it's true when they say you can't guess everyone's name is David, huh?
I think the takeaway is you never know what someone is like until you get to know them. And that's just one lesson to be learned from David's life.
Sweet. So he just started ruling just like that?
Well, not quite. You see, while David was anointed to be the next king, Saul still had the crown. But God wasn't with him anymore, so he really couldn't accomplish anything. Yeah, instead he just got grumpy all the time. Yeah, in fact, that's how David first met Saul. You see, the Bible says Saul was so troubled by an evil spirit and wanted to hear some calming music to make him feel better. And as it turns out, David is an excellent harp player.
You mean Saul, the king, didn't have Spotify Premium?
Well, the evil spirit left Saul, and the Bible says during this time Saul liked David and had him do some work for him.
Oh, good. Hopefully that'll make the whole, hey, I'm the guy God gave the crown instead of you thing a little less awkward, huh?
We'll talk about that next time.
Oh, I can't wait.
We'll see you guys then.
This has been Whiteboard Stories. We'll see you next time.